All right, we are at the very end of the school year and we only have a few days left, which means you guys have a final exam coming up. So we are going to go through the practice final solutions today so that you guys can be as prepared as you possibly can for this final exam. So you can see on the screen here, problem number 1 is 5 plus the absolute value of x plus 3 equals 12. In problems like these, what we want to do is first get the absolute value by itself. So to do that, we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. We're left with the absolute value of x plus 3 equals 7. And from here, what we want to do is say that what's in the absolute value could either be a positive version of what's on the right or a negative version. So we're going to say x plus 3 equals 7 and x plus 3 equals negative 7. So we went through an entire discussion about this in class, but this is just, again, a brief overview. At this point, we've seen this problem quite a few times. So we're going to solve both of these for x, and we get x equals 4 and x equals negative 10. So you guys have the actual practice final with you. You should. So I'm not going to go through and say the letter answers, but this is how it should look. Okay, let's move on to number 2 over here. If the volume of a rectangular prism is what the expression that we have, which is x cubed minus 7x squared plus 7x plus 15, and one of the sides, let me set myself up, is x minus 3, we want to find the length of the shortest side. So the first thing that we want to do is divide the big long polynomial by the other one that's given to us. Again, if you guys would need kind of a review, a recap of why that is, please come see me during lunch, before school, in class, whatever, and we can work through that. But this is the process. So x times x squared gives us x cubed. So now we need to multiply x times x squared is x cubed, negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared, and then we're subtracting all of this from what's above. So if we imagine distributing this, that becomes a plus. Again, we've already done this several times in class, but if you need more in-depth explanation, please come see me. But this should be a review. That's why I'm going to go through relatively quickly here. Negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4, and bring down the 7x. Now, x times something gives us negative 4x squared. X times negative 4x gives us negative 4x squared. So now we're going to multiply. So we get x times negative 4x is negative 4x squared. Negative 3 times negative 4x gives us positive 12x. And again, we need to subtract both of these from what's above. So you can see over here that if we distribute another negative to both of these, this turns into a positive and this becomes a minus. So those cancel out. 7 minus 12 is negative 5x, and then we bring down the 15. Make sure you guys can still see that. You should. Okay. And then x times something will give us negative 5x. X times negative 5 will give us negative 5x. So x times negative 5, negative 5x. Negative 3, negative 5 is positive 15. And again, imagine distributing a negative to both of these, because that's essentially what we're doing, is subtracting. So this turns into a plus, this into a minus, and then we add, and those cancel out. So what we're left with up here is x squared minus 4x minus 5. This represents the other two sides multiplied together. So we have to actually break this down a little bit further. So let's take x squared minus 4x minus 5 down here, and we want to factor it. So 1 times negative 5 is negative 5, and negative 4 down here. And so we're looking for two numbers. Let me go ahead and move this up. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 5 and add up to negative 4. So those two numbers would be 1 and negative 5. Since we don't have anything in front of the x squared, we can just take these two factors, and we have x plus 1 is one side, x minus 5 is the other. So the volume, again, make sure you guys can see this, is length times width times height. So length times width times height. Or in this case, we were told in the beginning of the problem that one of the sides was x minus 3, so let's put that back in. And these two represent the other two sides, so x plus 1 and x minus 5. If we're being asked to find the shortest of the three sides, well, if we look at this, if x represents one number, the same number for all three of these parentheses, if you subtract 3 from the same number, you're going to get a number that's smaller than if you add 1, and so on and so forth. So the shortest, let me make sure that that's what we're asking. Yeah, the shortest is x minus 5, and that answer is B, as in boy. But again, I'm not going to write those up here, so you guys all have that with you, and that will help guide you. All right, let's quickly go through number 3, and then I will switch over to a new video. So let's see over here, number 3. Which ordered pair represents the vertex? So this is one where I have seen so many students confuse this with finding the x-intercepts or the roots. So remember, the vertex is, if you're given in this form, the vertex is x equals negative b over 2a. You need an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate for a vertex. A vertex is something that on a graph represents that point where the inflection changes. So you need an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate. When you solve for the roots, you're solving for where it crosses the x-axis. So those are two very different concepts. They're all wrapped into the same idea, but they're very different. Okay, so this first term, this is our A. I'm going to try and write bigger. You guys told me it's hard to see some of them if I write too small or in a lighter color. So A is what's in front of the x squared term, B is what's in front of the x, and C is the one that doesn't have any x's attached to it. So we've got negative 36. We're just plugging the numbers into this expression over 2 times negative 2, which is negative 36 over negative 4, and that's 9. That's the x-coordinate of the vertex. Now, always when you are given a multiple choice test, you're kind of helped out a little bit because you have some choices there for you already. If we look, the only one that has an x-coordinate of 9 is A, and that also happens to be the answer. But if you wanted to go back and be thorough about it, make sure that you are definitely right, you would take this 9 and plug it back everywhere there's an x into the expression that we just rearranged. So take that and plug it back in. So we get negative 2 times 9 squared plus 36 times 9 minus 167. And you always want to do parentheses before exponents. I'm sorry, exponents before multiplication, okay? So we're going to get rid of, so this becomes negative 2 times 81 plus 144 minus 167. If you do all of that, it should come out to negative 5. Whoops, I'm off the screen. Let's move that up. Okay, so y equals negative 5, so the vertex of this is 9, negative 5. Okay, switching over to a new video now.